Good morning, good afternoon. Today's Monday, April 9th, 2018, and we're doing the morning business headline commentary. Coming back from the previous weekend's holiday, there has been a lot of turmoil in the stock market as these tariff threat proposals are being launched by the two biggest economies in the world. So we see how it develops. As these threat proposals are being advised and eventually negotiated a little bit, I think, and then we'll see from there. All right, let's look into the headlines. Seems like the Facebook is being, inquire about how they actually, if they actually protect any data at all. I remember they were stated that anything you post on their website or platform is their property. So technically speaking, it's their property to share with anybody they want, even though they claim to be protecting privacy. So that's something you need to understand. Anything you put onto their platform is their property. So I mean, like I mentioned before, I mean, if you put stuff up, you need to have some common sense. If I can sell you a bridge today in 2018 and you're willing to buy that bridge, good luck to you. Just like going on these platforms and posting, spilling your guts on everything. All right. Seems like Amazon is in the news again over some minor spat about businesses practices. As I mentioned before in my recommendation on Amazon over like a year and a half ago, you pretty much more than double your money following my advice on Amazon, which I feature in a dated video listed below. Alright, there's some small acquisitions. I don't think there'll be much of a, anything. You just bike stuff. Alright, Dow surges in a rebound over 300 points from last Friday's fall. So we do see a lot of volatility uncertainty is a certainty. Where you have like policy shift and differences in perspective and policy development. So in the United States, there's two fronts: one for tariff and one against the tariff. In the opposing economy, there's also two fronts. One that's looking for retaliatory tariff and one that's against the retaliatory tariff. So within the two sides, there's four sides. The two sides in the United States, for and against, and the two sides in the other side, for and against. So we have four sides in this thing happening. Alright, there's a little bit of YouTube stuff. I mean, it's a similar stuff. Anything you put on there, at least YouTube is willing to share in the revenue, where they get compensated for your creative content. But you don't get compensated in any other platform. So YouTube is definitely the better deal for a lot of people. Like me right now, I'm posting these commentary on YouTube. So you go YouTube for sharing your profit sharing to promote and encourage even more creativity. Alright, so that's a little bit changing on the guard in Deutsche Bank. Alright, so there's a Nikolai Tesla. So one's taking the Tesla name and the other company is taking the Nikolai name. So I'm envisioning another company would just take the whole name, Nikolai Tesla. Just like, Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. Right. So there's an evolving dispute and evolving threat proposals. So American auto companies are getting good attentions because they're providing good value, like GM, Ford, Chrysler. You know, they're after the New York Auto Show, which showing off a lot of new cars and new models. So I wouldn't be surprised about more investment attentions to the U.S. auto companies. All right, let's go to CNBC. All right, some movements in the FX. All right, gold came down a bit since Friday. All right, rebounding a bit in the Asian markets. All right, so as we see again, recovery over 360 points. All right. There's a little bit of controversy in the EPA. Well, you do too for some controversy because you're removing regulations that are supposed to protect the environment. So there's some controversy about sending troops to Mexican border. All right. So there's sanctions, new forms of sanctions that taking bite. All right, volatility in virtual assets. All right. So you see new developments in hardware of the Mars rocket. No, I would imagine they would probably implement something called solar sailing, where they have almost like satellite antennas, but almost like a shape like a ship sail, that captures the solar energy emitted as almost like a sail. I mean, they probably have to do something like that for sustainable travel for the distances to as far as Mars. I always thought about maybe going to Venus as well. Venus is the one planet closer to the sun from Earth, as opposed to Mars, which is one further away from the sun off Earth. Something like that. Now the closer one is Venus, the further one is Mars. So I thought maybe you should look into Venus as well. So you have red phones for iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus, which I think you can just buy a protective covering, which is color red. That's the same thing. All right. All right. All right. So if there's any like food industry stocks, you probably want to invest in restaurants related stocks, as more like refunds are coming through and people are spending to maybe going to the movies a little bit and eating out. All right, biotech breakthroughs in research, then that's a certainty where you have new developments in developing billion-dollar blockbuster new drugs. There's an opinion by Goldman Sachs about trade dispute. As you know, some certainty, is the uncertainty. While you notice that they will probably have multiple threat proposals, advisory, and some negotiation. That's like some certainty in the evolving, thing. Alright, so there you have it a little bit, yeah, what do I think about the Facebook, stuff like I just mentioned? Anything you post, they're not going to compensate you, and they can do anything they want in ultimate consideration, which is to make money, and they sell everything that you post until now. So, like I mentioned, if you have an attitude that I can sell you a bridge in 2018 and you're willing to buy it, there's some people that still do that, So, yeah, so basically the whole SPAC controversy is that you need to have a little bit more street smarts on the internet while being not on the street, Alright, today's Monday, April 9th, 2018, and we're doing the morning business headline commentary. Something of note, I have Indian followers and Chinese business followers. India's Modi went for a big hug on Amazon after my dated video featuring Amazon. My Chinese business followers decided to buy out Germany's robotics firm after I featured robotics building supercars in some of my dated video on Supercar Remix video listed below. Something also know, I do understand some of my commentaries are affecting sovereign policies, and I will put more consideration before I state my opinion and stuff like that. Alright, that's 3 of my sometimes actionable commentaries of the many ones. And happy trading, everybody. Today's Monday, April 9th, 2018.